All right, these are going to be my running back rankings for the 2024 NFL season. This is a projection, so do not get too caught up on last year's stats. But let's get started here. Honorable mentions, I do got Roschon Johnson, Tyjae Spears, Zach Charbonnet, Miles Sanders, Tank Bigsby, Braylon Allen, Antonio Gibson, Trey Benson, Jonathan Brooks, who's supposed to be out for the first couple of games, Jeff Wilson. Then I got a couple of free agents, Kareem Hunt and Jerick McKinnon. If those guys were on a team, they'd be ranked at number 30 and number 47, respectively. So, yeah, let's get started. At number 50, I got Dalvin Cook. He's technically only on the Cowboys practice squad, but I think he'll make it to the active roster and be a decent running back for them. 49, I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire as RB2 in Kansas City. He should be better than he was last year because they don't have Jerick McKinnon, but they do have number 48, Carson Steele, who's technically a fullback for them. I do got a couple of fullbacks on here because there's not a really good spot to rank fullbacks because there's only a couple of them are actually any good. So I just ranked them in here with the running backs. But Carson Steele's looked like a stud in preseason. 47, I got Blake Corum, RB2 for the Rams. He should be a solid RB2 coming out of Georgia. Number 46, Tyler Algier. He's been a really good RB2 for a while now. He's going to be a really good RB2 this year, I believe, as well. In Atlanta behind Bijan Robinson. Number 45, Devin Singletary. RB1 for the Giants. I just don't think he's going to be a very good running back one. He's a good RB2, but as an RB1, he's not very good. Number 44, Alexander Mattison, RB2 here for the Raiders. I think him and Zamir White, are kind of debatable between RB1 to RB2, but I'm going to lean with Madison as RB2 here, but I think he'll be a solid running back for sure. 43, Justice Hill, RB2, I believe, here for the Ravens. He's a solid running back. Number 42 is going to be Cam Akers. He's been really good in preseason for the Texans. I do think he'll be their RB2 over Dameon Pierce. He's looked really, really good coming off his injuries that he's had. 41, Patrick Ricard, the fullback here for the Ravens. He's a solid fullback, one of the best fullbacks in the league. I think he's, number 41 out of all the running backs is a pretty good number for a fullback. Number 40 is Amir White here for the Raiders, just a few spots ahead of Alexander Mattison. I think he'll be solid, nothing too special here, but he could be a decent running back one. Number 39, Ezekiel Elliott here is RB1 for the Cowboys. Pretty weak RB1 here, but again, he's a solid running back, just not really good for RB1. Number 38 is Kyle Juszczyk, best fullback in the league. In my opinion, number 38 out of all running backs is pretty good for a fullback. Number 37, Austin Ekeler is RB2 here for the Commanders behind Brian Robinson. I think he's a good RB2, a really good RB2, and I think he's going to have a really solid year. Number 36, Chuba Hubbard for Carolina. I think he's RB1 there. I can't really remember everything off the top of my head, but I do think he's RB1. He's going to have a decent year, but probably not anything really special. Number 35, Gus Edwards. He could have a solid year here as RB1/2. Him and J.K. Dobbins are kind of fighting for that spot in L.A., but I think he's going to have a solid year. Number 34, Cordero Patterson as a running back. He's listed as a running back officially in Pittsburgh, but they also got Jalen Warren and Najee Harris, so I think he'll probably get some more work in as a receiver, but I did list him in with the running backs because that is his official position on the depth chart. Number 33, Rachaad White for Tampa Bay. This felt really low for me, but personally, that's just kind of where things landed. I think he's a good running back. He's a good RB1 in my opinion, but he only comes in here at number 33. Number 32, we got Zach Moss here for the Bengals. He was really good for the Colts last year when Jonathan Taylor did not play, so I think could be a really solid running back one here for the Cincinnati Bengals as well. Number 31, Brian Robinson for the Commanders. He's a pretty solid RB1 as well. He was good last year in a rookie, even though he got shot or stabbed or something only a few weeks before the season, and he ended up, still having a really solid year. Number 30, J.K. Dobbins in L.A. for the Chargers. I think he'll be a little bit better than Gus Edwards, so I give him the RB1 spot. But either way, I think they're both going to be about the same type of player. Both be pretty solid, but nothing too special. Number 29, Khalil Herbert. He's RB2 here for the Chicago Bears, but I think he's a really good RB2. He was an RB1 before, so I think he's going to be a really good RB2. Number 28, Najee Harris. technically listed as RB1 in Pittsburgh, but I think Jaylen Warren's better than him. So I'm putting him down here at RB2. He's a really good RB2. He's like a mid-tier RB1. Number 27, Jerome Ford. He's RB2 in Cleveland, obviously behind Nick Chubb, but Nick Chubb is injured for the first few games, so that's going to give Ford, a big leap here at the start of the season. Number 26, David Montgomery. He's RB2 for the Lions behind Jahmyr Gibbs, but he's an excellent RB2. Number 25, Javonte Williams is RB1 in Denver. He's a good running back. Nothing too special. Not a very good in the receiving game, but he's a really solid running back for sure. Number 24, Jaylen Warren, who I think is RB1 in Pittsburgh. He's a really good running back. He was, surprised to me quite a bit last year, and I think he's going to even build up from that coming into this year. Number 23, DeAndre Swift as the RB1 in Chicago over Khalil Herbert. I think DeAndre Swift is a little bit better, but both those guys, again, are kind of around the same level. DeAndre Swift should be a really solid running back this year. Number 22, Ramondre Stevenson as RB1 in New England. I think he'll be a really good running back. He was really good last year. He's going to be really good again, I think, this year. Number 21, Tony Pollard. This feels really, really low for some of these guys, but I just think there's a lot of really good running back talent at the top of the board here. So Tony Pollard at 21 feels quite low, but I really can't argue him to be much higher. Number 20 here is going to be Joe Mixon from the Texans. He's like a 90-some overall in Madden, which I think is way overrated. But still, number 20 does feel pretty low. But I think we'll have a really good year here in Houston. Number 19 is going to be Raheem Mostert. He was a top 5 running back last year, no doubt. I think he'll regress. He is like 32 years old, which in running back years is ancient. So the fact that he had as good of a year as he did last year was kind of insane. I don't think he'll be that good this year, but I do think he'll still be a very, very solid RB2. Number 18 is going to be James Cook as RB1 in Buffalo. He's a real solid running back for them. Number 17 is going to be James Conner. He was probably a top 10 running back as well last year. I don't think he's going to be quite as good. I think they're going to pass the ball more this year than they did last year because they got a better quarterback, Kyler Murray, for the entire season. But I still think James Conner is a really good running back. Number 16 is going to be Kenneth Walker for Seattle. He gets a lot of work in the pass game as well, which definitely helps him out. But I think he's a really, really good running back here. Number 15, Alvin Kamara for the Saints. A few years ago, he was a top 5 running back. Not anymore, but he's still, I think, an elite running back in the league. Number 14, Aaron Jones. I still think he's an amazing running back. I think he'll be better this year than he was last year because last year he split a lot of time with A.J. Dillon. Now his backup running back is I don't even know who his backup running back is, but he should get a lot of the load, and especially because, Sam Darnold's their quarterback, they might run the ball quite a bit. Number 13 is going to be Isaiah Pacheco for Kansas City. He had a good year last year. I think we'll have a better year this year, maybe slightly. I think he'll go over 1,000 rushing yards this year. But, yeah, he's a really good running back. Number 12 is going to be Josh Jacobs in Green Bay. He does not have to fight with A.J. Dillon for time, so that's going to be really good for him as opposed to a guy like Aaron Jones last year in Green Bay. He was pretty good last year, definitely took a step back last year from what he was 2 years ago, but I think will be a little bit better this year in Green Bay. Number 11, Kyren Williams for the Rams. He was amazing as a rookie. I think he was a rookie last year. He might have been a second-year player last year, but he came out of nowhere. But he was amazing last year, so he should be amazing this year as well. Number 10, Bijan Robinson in Atlanta should be better than he was last year. Getting Kirk Cousins on the team should help a lot with that. I think he'll be really involved in the pass game. Number 9, Jahmyr Gibbs. He was really good last year. I think he'll be even better this year just because, progression, because he's such a young player here. He should have no problem, getting 1,500 all-purpose yards and 10 total touchdowns. Number 8 is going to be Devon Achane. He was amazing last year, same with Raheem Mostert. I think this year Devon Achane will take over the reins as RB1 just because he is a lot younger than Raheem Mostert. So I think he'll progress while Mostert gets a little bit worse. But Achane is electric. He is super fast, which is going to help him obviously in the run game, but also in the pass game with Tua. Number 7, Travis Etienne. was absolutely amazing for Jacksonville last year. I think will be amazing this year again. I think he'll go over 1,500 total yards and probably 15 total touchdowns as well. Number 6, Nick Chubb. He's going to miss the first 4 games or so, come back in week 5. But I think when he comes back, he's going to be a really good running back. Maybe a small step down from what he was 2 years ago before the injury, but still one of the best running backs in the league by far. Number 5 is going to be Jonathan Taylor. He's a really, really talented running back. He should be really good in the pass game as well. I have no issues with him. I don't see any world where he does not get at least probably 17 to 1,800 total yards and like 15 touchdowns. Number 4 is going to be Breece Hall. I think he is going to absolutely break out. He had like 1,500 total yards last season. I think he'll go for 1,800 yards and maybe even 15 plus touchdowns. With Aaron Rodgers here, he's going to have an even bigger role in the pass game. Last year he had like 500 or 600 receiving yards. Now he has Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. He might even get more than that. Number 3 is going to be Derrick Henry. He took kind of a step back last year, but also he was on a bad team with a subpar offensive line. Now he's on a great team with a pretty good offensive line. So I think Derrick Henry is going to get a lot of red zone touchdowns this season with Baltimore. He easily could get 14 or so rushing touchdowns this year. Number 2 is going to be Saquon Barkley here for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he's going to be better this year with the Eagles than he was with the Giants. Kind of the same thing as who did I just talk about? Derrick Henry. He was on a bad team last year with a bad offensive line. Now he's on a good team with a good offensive line, so he should get some more red zone, opportunities and touchdowns from that. I think he could very easily go for 2,000 total yards and close to 16 to 18 touchdowns. And the number 1 is going to be Christian McCaffrey. Now, he's gone like 2 years without any injuries, so he's kind of due for a big injury this season. I don't want to, jinx anything. I don't want to rank players based off injuries. So that's why, based off potential injuries. So I'm not gonna, sit here and say that he's not the best running back in the league just because I think he's going to get injured. If he's healthy, he easily is going to go for 2,000 yards and probably close to 20 total touchdowns. He's just that good of a player. So that is going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out my quarterback and receiver videos, and then I got a tight end record prediction and a week 1 power ranking video coming out as well.